It's a great day to talk hockey on HabsCast.
A great day indeed, especially when I am joined by the snake, the one and only, Le Serpent, Simon Boisvert. Simon Greenwood, Simon Boisvert, however you want to say it. You know, I know you're a translator, so I thought you'd appreciate that. Good to see you. Good to see you, Simon.
Yeah, nice talking to you, Grant.
Yeah. So you were in Clarkson on the weekend, checking out Keaton Verhoff for a couple of games. So we're going to be getting to the draft here after a few minutes. But first of all, we got to talk about this start by the Montreal Canadiens, 8-3, and that's after a 4-game Western road swing where they went 3-1. They're 5-2 on the road so far this year. Only one other team, the LA Kings, have 5 road wins. So that's a hell of a start for the Canadiens. Now they come back for some home cooking, very soon. Ottawa's up next. That'll be a big one, a battle of the, down the 417. Give me your impressions on what you saw last night in the game.
Well, I would say that the first half of the game was not that entertaining. So I understand, people who went to bed after the first period. But then it kind of took off. It was interesting. And in the third period, I mean, Seattle was like really, really attacking. But Caufield did Caufield stuff. He just scored in overtime. Yeah, it was a magnificent goal. I mean, just the way he went around the defenseman and then the second effort, to put the puck between the post and the pads. At least that's the way I saw it, because it was very, very fast.
Yep.
So, Suzuki, I think, and Slafkovsky also played a great game. Slav was really, really, really good.
He was.
I mean, this is why what he did last night is why he was drafted. And I thought that during the first 3 seasons, we didn't see that kind of Slafkovsky that much. And I said at the beginning of the year, the 4th season will be crucial. And I think so far, because I know he's only 21, but it's still his 4th season. And I think so far he's becoming the Slafkovsky that they drafted in 2022. Yeah.
Well, as you're well aware, Simo, as a rule, 6'3", 220-pound forwards, whether it's their 4th season or their 1st season, they take time, right? Yeah. Like Mikko Rantanen at 21 was not the player that he was at 25, just for an example. And I find that there are some similarities between those two. Mm-hmm. And I think, I tweeted out last night, like, that great play that he made along the boards and then the pass to Caufield, he didn't score, but like Slav could have a handful of assists. He's really made some great passes this season, and last night especially, where he's only got 1 assist, but he is passing the puck well. I think he's playing well, but I said wait till he's 23, and it'd be nice if I think he takes. We needed to see first half Slav this year, and safe to say, 5 goals after 11 games after 2 in the first half last year, that he's not off to that slow start. And I think he needed that. You know how players can be, their confidence, right? When you're confident and you're scoring goals, it makes a world of difference. And he needed to get off to a quicker start production-wise, goal-wise this year. And 5 goals in the first 11 games, I think, bodes well for the rest of this season for him.
Well, I think he's a good fit because on that line.
Yeah.
Because when you have a 5'7" player, as tough as he is, as good as he is, it's good to have a big, tall guy with them. We've seen them in the past. The great lines. I remember... for older folks, and I'm not comparing that line to that Hall of Fame line, but still the Trottier, Bossy, Gillies line. And look,
Right.
I'm not saying Caufield, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky are Trottier, Bossy, Gillies. We'll see after they win Stanley Cups. But my point is, Trottier was the cerebral center. Bossy was the scorer. And Gillies was the tough guy who could play hockey.
Right. Well, that's what it's modeled after. And thanks for mentioning after they win Stanley Cups, because you think that that's a possibility with this group.
You mean for the Habs to win one Stanley Cup? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, I said by 2028 they would reach the finals. That was my prediction in September.
Okay.
By 2028.
Well,
and hopefully a great final in 2030 between either the Sharks or the Ducks against the Habs.
oh boy, yeah, all that young talent.
Oh yeah.
Well, I went one further and said that they might reach the final this year.
Oh.
Especially if they make a couple of additions. I think they're going to be in the playoffs at the trade deadline. Yeah. And they're going to be buyers this year for a change. Okay. And I think the East is open with Barkov out. I really do. Like, I think Carolina has holes. I think you like New Jersey start, but, you know, why would they be any more favored than Montreal? Montreal was a playoff team last year. New Jersey wasn't. Right, so they're not as they're just as unlikely not to win as Montreal. I think Toronto, with losing 100-point scorer and for nothing, basically, that hasn't happened since Joe Thornton left Boston, and then they were, you know, they sunk to the bottom of the standings after that happened. I'm not saying Toronto's going to sink to the bottom of the standings, but I don't see a 108-point team this year.
I think their ship has sailed anyway.
Yeah, could be
for the Stanley Cup. You know, I think their ship has sailed. Yeah.
And Tampa, just after 5-6 years of just not adding any young talent through the draft, it starts to catch up with you. And I don't think they're going to be as good this year as they had been. They had a good run. I think the East is wide open this year, and I mean, I'm not saying they are going to win the East, but I think the Canadiens, when you've got that, it reminds me of the Chicago team that won that first cup, Simon, where, you know, you had Taves and Kane, right? You had Seabrook and Keith.
Yeah.
They didn't have necessarily goaltending that you'd think, well, yeah, they didn't have the best goalie in the league, right? But they came together. They had all that young talent. You know, they added a guy like Hossa, and they gelled and won a cup. I'm not putting it past the possibility that Montreal contends this year, and I mean, that's exciting. Even if they don't, I think they're a playoff team again. I think they're top 5 in talent in the NHL right now. At the very least, top 10. How long has it been since you could say that about a Canadiens team? You'd have to go back to the
90s, early 90s. Yeah,
you know,
probably the most talented team I remember was not, well, besides the 70s team.
70s.
The most talented team I remember was not the 93 team, but the 89 team that reached the finals against Calgary. But Calgary was loaded. Yeah, loaded. But that was that the Habs in 1989 were a great team.
It's funny. I talked to Larry Robinson.
Yeah, his last season. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, you know what? I thought we were better. We had the better team in '89 and we lost, and Calgary had the better team in '86 and we won. Which was an interesting comment, but
you know, I would say it's fair. It's I would say it's fair. Yeah, I think the Habs, what they need at the trade deadline, like you say, if they make moves, I think they need a little bit more secondary scoring to be like a top contender. But the rest is pretty good. Yeah.
Interesting. I just did a podcast with Liam, and they have 11 players with 6 or more points at this, you know, so 11 guys that are on pace for 45 plus points.
Yeah.
Which tells me that their secondary scoring isn't that bad. I think
as long as it lasts, you know, right, October hockey.
Well, Okay, well, let's talk about Oliver Kapanen. I haven't seen your comments or whatever, but I hear
Yeah,
that you're not that high on Oliver Kapanen, and
not really. Not really.
obviously, folks know that I love
Mhm.
Oliver Kapanen.
Yeah.
What is it about Oliver Kapanen that you don't appreciate that I do?
Look, honestly, I don't see much. Well, there's two things. First of all, a season lasts 82 games. A career lasts, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So when I project players, usually I try to make a prediction about their career. Not one season, not 2 seasons, not half a season. I go with the career. And the way I always saw Kapanen was like a fourth liner, a supporting player, because I don't see much creativity, offense, anything worth being a top 6 player. So that's
Okay.
how I made my prediction. I knew he scored goals at the beginning of the year, and I was teased a lot by people because of it. But I don't see it as I don't think it's going to be done on a consistent basis. Yeah. I think he can be good on the PK. I think he can play in the NHL, but I don't see much more than a supporting player. So probably I don't see him as high as you do.
Be honest here, Simo. How much did you watch him in Finland and in Sweden the last?
I did watch him, but I did a little research about Swedish players. He's Finnish, but he played in Sweden anyway. Okay. And I've noted, I did that little research. Last year in the NHL, there were 11 Swedish players who had 45 or more points. Mm-hmm. And 10 of them arrived in America before the age of 20, whether it be in the CHL, the AHL, or the NHL. One exception was Elias Pettersson at 20. Every other player who performed well in those leagues, maybe at 21, like Kapanen last year, none of them got 45 points. So I know why you're saying this, because, there can be exceptions. Of course, there could be. It's just that when I make predictions, I look at probabilities very much. I go with my experience of, comparing players in the past and everything. But that's just a parenthesis about his play in the Swedish league. The Swedish league, I'm not a fan. I don't think it's a good development league for the NHL at all. We saw it with Matthias Norlinder, who was like absolutely amazing in the Swedish league. At least the highlights that we saw. I didn't like his game, but I mean, the highlights that we saw in the NHL, in the AHL, he couldn't even do 10% of what he did in Sweden. Anyway, I'm not crazy about the Swedish league. That's my point. And I think the players got to get out of there to become good. But getting back to Kapanen's game, I watch him and I find him very, very vanilla. So look, that's my eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
We might disagree. Look, we'll know in a few years who was right, who was wrong. I mean, not a big deal. I mean, I'm just saying what I saw. Yeah.
Well, I'm careful with when you look at the trends that this guy, Kapanen played in the Finnish league. His second half at 20 years of age. Like if you look at what not many players have ever done, he was top 5 in points as a 20-year-old in the second half in Finland, went to the World Championships, was top 5 in goal scoring at 20 years of age. These are uncommon things. Goes to the Swedish Hockey League last year, top 3 in scoring at 21. Now, those are indications that, okay, he's got some offensive upside. And I've watched him probably 100 times, which I think is more pertinent than looking at, well, there's 11 Swedish players that came. So
that's fine. That's fair.
That's fair enough. I've actually scouted him, Simo, probably. And I mean, I'm doing this full time, right? So I have the time. And that's, and I have watched him. Well, I've had him as a top 5 Habs prospect for 3 years now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think his IQ is like elite.
Okay.
And, like Anthony Cirelli's not a fancy player,
No.
right? But he's so smart and he's competitive and he's been a number 2 center on 2 cup winners and play, because he plays such a crucial role in all. He's one of the few young centers under the age of 22 that kill penalties. And I think, the fact that if you look back, Simo, at how many centers as rookies come in and are regular penalty killers, gives you an idea of just how smart a hockey player Oliver Kapanen is. He's not Patrice Bergeron, but there are similarities there. And like Patrice Bergeron wasn't a dangler. He wasn't a player that you were going to jump out of the seat with his skill level, but he was so smart. And that is, for me, is what Oliver Kapanen and Marty St. Louis has identified that by already giving him, playing him with Demidov, playing him as a regular penalty killer, as a rookie in the NHL at center. It's rare. And I think they've identified just how smart a player he is. And I saw that in every time I watched him in the Finnish junior, in the Finnish league, and in Sweden, where he produced numbers that not many at his age. I know that, typically players come over before the age of 21 or 22 if they're right. Like you see Lucas Raymond, for instance.
Yeah.
These guys come over because they're high draft picks, and
even Jesper Bratt, who was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, right, yeah. Right.
That's the exception, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that part, but that you can't discount the fact that at 20, he was top 5 in points per game in the second half of his, in the Finnish league. He was the leading scorer in the playoffs in the Finnish league at 20 years of age, which again, that's pretty impressive. And then to go lead Finland in scoring at 20 in the World Championships in goals and top 5, and then go to Sweden and be top 3 in points per game, which are all indications that he does have offensive upside that I think that you are maybe, because of this, the
bias,
the method that you looked at was maybe.
Well, I also watch him, and I also watch him, and I try to project.
Maybe relying on the eye test as much as I have over the past 3 years, and that's where I guess we'll agree to disagree on Oliver Kapanen. But
I have a question for you regarding Kapanen.
Sure.
Because we all have expectations for prospects we like. I'll give you an example. 15 years ago, I was in love with Jeff Skinner. I think he's had a very good career because he became the number 1 goal scorer from that draft year. However, believe it or not, I was disappointed in his career. I thought he was going to be a 40 goal scorer every year, and he hasn't. I saw a 600 goal scorer in Skinner. That's my parentheses. Kapanen being a late 2nd-round pick, most of them don't make the NHL. I would ask you, what are your expectations for him? And I'll give you mine after. Mm-hmm. And we'll see if we're happy about him in 5-10 years, if you see my point.
Yeah. Well, Patrice Bergeron was drafted 56 overall. I see a lot of similarities in the two players.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to be Patrice Bergeron, but Bergeron never scored, more than 70 points in a season?
I don't think so. Yeah.
No. And I don't think Kapanen will ever score more than 70 points in a season, but he does so many other things. And there is this perception that your second line center to be on a contender has to be like a dangler and a 80-point scorer. Yet Chandler Stevenson was a second line center on a cup winner recently. Braden Shen was a second line center on a cup winner recently.
Dave Bolin in Chicago.
Yeah, Cirelli, 2 years, Tampa. Yeah. Sam Bennett never scored more than 50 points in the regular season. Second line center, 2 years for Florida. None of these guys, you don't need an 80-point skilled guy to center your second line. You don't. And
so what are your expectations? Second line center?
Middle line center all day.
Okay,
middle
like
line,
15, 18 minutes per game?
Probably. He'll eventually be on the second power play, I believe. He's great in front of the net and tipping pucks. I don't know if you've noticed this year, but he's probably tipped about 10 pucks. They didn't go in, but I've scouted him probably 100 times in before this year. I've noticed it in various leagues. Very, very good eye-hand coordination. Really good at tipping pucks. I love his board play. It's not pretty, like he's not dangling like Demidov. Well, nobody does, but he's very effective at getting to pucks in the opposite zone. He circles back away from the play, protects the puck really well. And I like his vision more than you do, obviously. I think he's a good playmaker, but he's also got a very good shot. And they even utilized it in the preseason where they kind of had him as a trigger guy on the power play where he didn't score, but he got off some really good shots. It's funny, they had a practice. I saw a practice yesterday where everybody was trying shooting with the wrong hand. I don't know if you saw the video or not.
No.
Kapanen blew him away. Like, said, I can shoot left-handed. Okay, let's see it, Cappy. And he freaking the one-timers with the wrong hand. And Newhook was mic'd up and said, holy geez, they were all like, Cap. That's pretty impressive. That it gives you an idea of his high hand coordination and how good it is. And he has an underrated shot. So you put all of that together, I see a 50 to 70 point two-way center at his peak. At worst, a third line penalty killing center that can get you 40 plus points.
Okay.
I think that's his
that's your expectations, let's say. That's
his floor. So 40 to 70 point middle line center.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Well, at 22, he's already playing a middle line center role. I think that tells you that at 25, he's probably going to be playing a middle line center role, but we'll see. Yeah, like you say, and you still think fourth line, even though at 22 he's playing on a team that's 8-3.
Fourth line on a Stanley Cup finalist or contender. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 8-10 minutes per game. Look, that's my expectations. Which actually would be great. He's
already playing more than that on a team that's on top of the standings, and he's 22.
Okay, but
you don't think he's going to evolve anymore?
I think the Habs will get better centermen at some point.
Yeah. Well,
which will push him down basically.
Again, I think he's a prototypical second line center on a contender. Okay. When you look at Anthony Cirelli, he reminds me so much of Anthony Cirelli.
That's fine.
You need a shutdown guy in that role to protect the skilled guys that are playing with you. And I think Marty St. Louis has identified that. Who's he got playing with Demidov?
Look,
22-year-old
like you say, let's agree to disagree. I'm not going to change my mind. But in the end, if I'm wrong in 5 years, I'll come in your show and say, Grant, you were right. I totally didn't see what you saw.
You have to have changed your mind after listening to me. Come on now.
I wait a little bit before I change my mind. Even for the players I like, I'm very patient when it comes to judging careers. And I love Tyson Jost. I thought he was going to be a 70-point center behind McKinnon in Colorado. I would have traded the world for him.
Yeah,
and basically, the guy
his skating wasn't up to par.
I know. I realized this afterwards.
Yeah. Hey, we've all had misses. I could talk could
players we like a lot, and players we like less. I mean, it's normal. I mean, we both loved Michael McLeod about 10 years ago. I thought he was McDavid-esque in terms of his skating, and I'm still wondering 10 years later, notwithstanding the trial or anything. Let's go prior to the trial, and his play. I'm still wondering why this guy didn't score 30, 35 goals in the NHL.
Well, hockey sense, I think, as it turned out, wasn't tremendous. And it's such an important part of being a successful center, and one of the reasons why I do like Kapanen so much. But we will revisit this. Back in the day, when we used to be on Tony's show together, we had a good debate about Cole Caufield.
I know.
You referred to him as a one-trick pony, I think it was at the time. And all they can do is shoot. Like now, it's 3-4 years later.
He's much better than I thought he would be.
Okay.
Because what happened is, just to revisit Caufield, when he was playing for the NTDP when he was 16, that's when I first saw him. And I remember tweeting, I said, top 5 talent, but 5'7". Where is he gonna be picked? Then in his draft year, I ranked him number 10 overall. So obviously I liked him. But then I saw him in college. He could score goals, but I thought at the time, I go, okay, this is a little bit one-dimensional. It's just a one-timer from, the side of the net. And then he started with the Habs. It was a little bit like that too. And then he grew into becoming a more rounded player, even offensively. I mean, you saw the goal last night. I mean, this is, that's not just a one-timer guy.
Yeah, right.
So that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay. I think I was a little more. I think I liked his playmaking ability a little more than you 3 years ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
And he's become he's putting up good assist stats. I mean, it helps playing with Nick Suzuki, obviously, but they make a good tandem. And he's, I think Marty St. Louis deserves some credit, obviously, for, molding him into a more complete player, kind of in his image to a certain degree, right? Right. There's a lot of similarities there, size-wise and skill-wise, and Marty obviously became a great all-around player.
Yeah.
And I think, that's a good mentor to have, right? Cole can look at it and say, geez, here's a guy my size who...
Yeah, exactly. You could relate to him. To him.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't relate to Zdeno Chara, but he could relate to Martin St. Louis.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And Lane too, at one point. And again, it's, earlier in their careers, and you're watching them in college and stuff, and you don't know till you see it at the NHL level. And I think you and with good reason, just like just about every NHL scout, because he wasn't picked till the 60s, right? Had concerns about how he would adapt to the NHL, but you've, we all have, right, evolved our opinions on Lane Hutson after that fantastic rookie season that he had.
Yeah, of course. I still, the only last box that I want to tick with him is a long playoff run.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, well.
It's the last box.
Yeah.
Because it's tough.
It is.
4 rounds of hockey is tough.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's got the right partner. Yeah. And how many guys come into the league, play 22 plus minutes on the wrong side, right? And at his size too. It's just remarkable just how quickly he has adapted to the NHL, being asked to play 22 plus minutes on your wrong side. It's a testament to just how smart and competitive he is. It's a joy to watch him, and he's fooled all the experts, right? And become. It makes you wonder about Xavier Villeneuve.
I was thinking of him while you were talking. Yeah,
You know?
because there are similarities in the way they play.
Yeah. The
Villeneuve
Hutson
is a little bit taller. His father is also over 6 foot tall, so he might grow still. But still, there's and right now, I'm sure Villeneuve will be drafted higher than he would have been had Hutson not succeeded last year.
Yeah.
He opened the way. It doesn't mean that every small offensive defenseman will be good. Okay. I was asked a question last week about Luca Cangoni in the Sharks for the Barracuda. And there was like, can he be like Lane Hutson? I'm like, well, he's not as talented, and not every short defenseman who has skills, offensive skills, will necessarily become a full-time NHL player. I don't know about Cangoni. I can say yes, I can say no. But there's no comparison with Lane Hutson at the same age.
No.
So that's the thing. But for Hutson, what's interesting is that I was at the Rocket game the other night against Abbotsford. And for Abbotsford, they had this guy called Tom Willander on defense, who was drafted 11th overall by Vancouver. And he got called up, I think, this week.
He played last night.
And I was watching him play. And I'm like, okay, he's okay. And I remember I went to see Hutson in Vermont for Boston University. And Willander was on that team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's okay. But then I'm thinking, and a friend of mine asked me, he goes, why did this guy go 11th overall and Hutson went 62nd overall? It was a friend of mine who was at the game. And I said, I think just Vancouver went the traditional safe pick way. Okay, he's defenseman. He does everything well, but nothing great. He has the size. He has the pedigree. And he's going to be an NHLer, period.
Right.
And basically that these guys will often go in the first round because I call them safe picks, if you see my point. But they're not home run picks.
Yeah.
If you just base it on talent and explosiveness and everything, you look at Hutson and Willander, they're not in the same league.
Yeah.
I was even talking, in their draft year. But with Hutson, there were so many question marks. Well, he's slim. He's not tall. He's not necessarily the fastest skater, from point A to point B, et cetera, and comparisons with the past. Well, there has never been a small defenseman doing this. And Willander, hundreds of defensemen in the NHL look like him.
Yeah, well,
past and present.
Yeah.
So, but he's very, very vanilla. He's fine.
Right.
He could be a number 4, maybe, but
which is
he's fine. But who cares? If you're a ticket buyer, you don't want to see Tom Willander. No.
Yeah. No. Well, and no, that's well put. And I think there had never been a 5'7" forward taken in the top 15 of the draft before Caufield. And I think he, I don't know if he sends a Christmas card each year to Alex DeBrincat or not, but he should.
Yeah, he paved the way Hutson paved the way for Xavier Villeneuve.
And now, not just, I think it's the Hutsons, not just Lane. Cole as well.
Oh, I love Cole.
Because they even made the mistake again the next year by not picking Cole.
I did not. I ranked him 14.
Yeah, see,
I ranked Cole 14.
There you go. And when it happens twice in a row, like you can only get fool me once, the old say, right? But third time, it's a charm. Like Villeneuve can thank. He should send the Hutson family a Christmas card when he gets picked, probably in the top 15 in the draft this year. I would think.
Oh yeah.
You have to. You can't. You have to say, well, okay, a guy that can run our power play that can probably score 60 to 80 points is a pretty valuable piece. As we've seen, Hutson's helped transform the Canadiens into a pretender, from a pretender to a contender, and he's a large piece of that. Quinn Quinn Hughes is another one, right? You can say, okay, it's not just a one-time thing. It's happened multiple times. Looks like it's going to happen with Cole Hutson as well. Villeneuve, based on talent alone, should go in the top 10.
I agree.
Okay.
I'm even close to top 5.
Well,
I mean, in my book. I mean, maybe not in the NHL Scouts book, but in my book, he's close to top 5 in talent.
If this was 5 years ago and I was, asking NHL scouts, oh no, he's not a first rounder, but
third rounder.
They're not saying that now because you learn, that there are exceptions.
And hockey evolves also. Hockey evolves. Yeah.
Well, the transition, the quicker pace, the transition being such an important part of being a good defender, puck retrievals. Hudson's great at all of those things, so it helps that the game has evolved, and there is this is in the 1990s when Villeneuve might not even get drafted.
Probably not. Yeah. Well, look, hockey evolves. I mean, in 2014, there's a player I liked a lot, and he totally bombed. Michael Dalcol. He was drafted 5th overall. I liked him a lot.
I did too.
But there was a transition between hockey became faster, I would say.
His skating was his issue, and
maybe he would have been good in 2002 or 2004.
Even McLean with Oshawa, was another example of a guy. Yeah, he played with Tavares, but he was a sniper and a playmaker.
I remember him. Yeah,
and I thought, oh well, he should make it and get over his skating issues. But there's two guys that the skating just never evolved enough to keep up with the NHL pace.
Exactly.
I will say, Simo, I've talked about a couple of guys that you changed your opinion on as time went along, but I'll give you one here where so far at least Logan Mailloux, we had a difference of opinion on him. I still think he can be a top 4 defenseman, but he went to St. Louis. A slow start. It doesn't surprise me because he still only played 100 games in the OHL, I think it's so important that you get experience before you fully evolve as a defenseman, especially if you're 6'3" plus. But the issues with his defensive game that you have had a concern with in the past, and I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't, but I thought would evolve more by now, are apparent again with his slow start in St. Louis now. So at this point, anyways, I'll give you the edge in the career predictions of Logan Mailloux.
Like I say, we'll see in 5-6 years.
Yeah, for sure.
But so far, I think Mailloux is pretty much what I thought he would be. But again, things can change.
Yeah.
Let's revisit Kapanen, Mailloux, all these guys in 5-6 years.
No, for sure. And that's the fun of hockey too.
Yeah.
That and it keeps us humble, right? Because
exactly.
There's lots of hits and misses.
Well, I always say it's much harder to do a show like ours talking about the future of players than commenting last night's game.
Yeah.
Commenting last night's game, you're probably going to be right,
Yeah.
Predicting players, you might be right, I don't know, 50, 60% of the time. But the 40, 50% of the time that you're wrong, oh my God, do you hear about it?
You get the feedback, and and it's from people that don't make lists and don't make predictions, and it's easy in hindsight to criticize.
Exactly.
Like I get, I got, Kotkaniemi, you're wrong on Kotkaniemi. Yeah. Well, I wasn't wrong that he'd get picked in the top 3. I was right.
Yeah, you predicted it. I remember. You called it back in February, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do I get so much grief about being right that that he would be picked that high? I was wrong. I thought
about his upside, maybe.
Right. I thought he'd be a top 2 center, but hey,
it didn't happen.
Sure, but then I liked Heiskanen and Makar more than Patrick. I know you did. You had him first overall, right?
Yeah, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Yeah,
yeah. I had Heiskanen too, second overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had Jake Sanderson top 3. I had, I mean, there's.
See, I like Sanderson, but not as much as you did, and he became much better than I thought he would be. I think I had him at 7 or 8, but I didn't have the same enthusiasm toward him that you did, because although his skating was like tremendous, I didn't think he would get that many points.
Offense, yeah.
So you were right. Having look, Ottawa had a fantastic draft that year. They had the top 2 players basically.
Yeah, and I really liked Greg too. I had him top 20.
Yeah, remember that.
They got him as well.
Yeah.
Was Pinto in that draft? I can't remember. If it wasn't that one, it was the next one.
Yeah, 2020. Look, I'm curious. I'm going to check as we speak, because I remember 2020 was a fantastic draft and I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
But I remember the only issue I had with the 2020 draft from Ottawa is that when I saw that they had taken Stützle and that Peterka, his line mate, was available, and I'm like, that's a no-brainer. Right. And they took Järventie, and then Peterka went to Buffalo. I think that would have been one of the greatest drafts of the last 25 years had they taken Peterka.
And it still may be so. But we always tend to look at just like, Montreal got Slav, right? They got
Hutson.
They got
Beck, Machar.
Yeah, but there were other, like, even later picks. I think Davidson. Maybe not. But they got like 4 or 5 really good picks. And people talk about, but you missed on Machar. Well, yeah, but Lane Hutson should have been a top 5 pick. Like, the glass can be half empty, but it can be half full too. You look at the overall draft, you don't just key on one miss. That's why you get multiple picks in the top 90, because you're going to have misses. You always are. And
Engstrom was also from that 2022 draft. I saw him as a number 6 defenseman in the NHL, a regular. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I kind of liked him.
Yeah, I do too.
But I don't know now. It's hard. He has some very good games, some very sloppy games in Laval.
Yeah. I mean, his skating is NHL all day, right?
Oh yeah.
That'll be his ticket to the NHL if he makes it. I just don't know if the fit's there in Montreal, because they're so strong on the left.
Could be elsewhere.
They don't need I think they need beef and some physicality on the bottom too.
A shutdown guy.
He's not going to crack the top 4. Yeah. So the fit isn't really there in Montreal. I think he's a valuable trade piece for them.
With a pick,
Yes. Yeah.
A first pick and Engstrom, because some teams pro scouts might like Engstrom actually.
Yeah, I think so.
The way someone in St. Louis loved Mailloux, I mean, you never know. I mean,
I mean, I think like, I don't know if it'd be San Jose or whatever, but there's teams out there that he can play for in the NHL. Yeah. I don't know that it'll be Montreal, just because of the numbers on the left. And Matheson played a good game last night. Mm-hmm. He's being paired, getting him a 20-minute right defenseman, legitimate top pairing guy to play with, which he didn't have the last 2 years in Montreal. He got, they asked him to play on the right side. They asked him to play with rookies. Yet he'd still play 25 to 30 minutes. And what defenseman wouldn't have mistakes playing that kind of time with all sorts of different partners, new system that he had to get used to, defensive system. I know he was sort of a whipping boy for a lot of fans in the last couple of years, but I think he's looked, except for maybe a couple of games where the old Matheson kind of reared its ugly head in a few instances. I think he's been outstanding so far this season.
Yeah, because right now
Johnson.
he's not being asked to be the number one defenseman.
Right.
And that's the thing with him. He's not a number one defenseman,
He's
but
not a power play runner. He's not can't run a power play.
But he will age very well.
Yeah.
Because his skating is effortless.
I agree.
He's never had major injuries.
No.
So he's the type of player that you can sign for 5 years, even if he's going to be like, 31 next year.
So
and you're like, okay, no problem. Seasons 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, no problem. Whereas other guys, you're a little bit more like, oof, I don't know. With him, I think he's a safe bet to play another 5 years at a high level. So when the Habs were rebuilding 2 years ago and they had that very good season point-wise, I remember I said, and I think I wasn't the only one, trade him. Get another first-round pick for this guy. But as the Habs became better last year, I said, hey, whoa.
Yeah.
You need veterans. And I understand that you can sign veterans on July 1st. But if you already have one, a local guy, why sign another guy?
Yeah. No, and he loves Montreal. I think he will re-sign for less, than what he could get in other markets if he decides to leave.
What do you see? What do you see? I see 5 times 5.
Or 6, yeah, between 5 and 6 million a year. Okay. And absolutely, like you look at Nick Lidstrom didn't win a Norris Trophy till he was 30, and then boom.
Yeah, I know.
Like good, mobile, smart defensemen. Typically, their best years are 30 to 37. Usually, like if you look back at McInnes, you look back at Lidstrom, Pronger, Niedermeyer. All of these guys were just elite in their 30s, right up till 37.
I do agree.
Matheson will be elite till 37, but 5 years, he's got another 5 years he's only gotten better as his career's gone along.
Without the pressure of being like a top pairing guy, that you're going to rely on night in, night out. Now he's okay. He has Hutson, he has Dobson. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just let him play his game. And like you say, he might have a couple of bad games where he reminds us of the whipping boy. But what player doesn't have bad games or so-so games?
Yeah.
So I think to me, the bad games, the good games, the good plays, the bad plays. When I analyze a player, I'm like, when I put it on when I try to balance out everything, is he more useful than not? If the answer is yes, if he makes more good plays and has more good games than bad games, then he's useful.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, there are players who are going to have like 75 good games in a season, but these guys are superstars.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, no, I'm okay with Madison resigning because of the state of the Habs now.
Yeah, no.
2 years ago, I said no because I'm like, okay, they're going to rebuild for another couple of years. Let's get picks. No, now it's time to get supporting veterans. He's one of them. Keep him.
Yeah, a great leader too.
Yeah,
and like they love him there. I have firsthand information of just how much he's respected in the dressing room and how important he is as a leader. I loved what he did the other night when he passed the goggles on to Kirby Dach when Kirby hadn't got a point that night, but he played really well. And little things like that he does that are smart and that'll help the team. It's going to help Kirby Dach. Kirby Dach came back and played a great game. His last 2 games have been really good.
It was very good last night.
And I think that helped, boosted his confidence. You could just see it means something to these guys to get to be recognized by their teammates for what they've done. Demidov had 3 points, and you could easily have given him the goggles, but Matheson and the leadership showing again maturity gave it to Dach, and it's kind of like, oh, keep her going, boy. We appreciate what you've done the last 2 years in overcoming these injuries and playing good away from the puck. You're helping us win. So, re-sign Matheson all day. there's no way they're trading him at the trade deadline.
No. There's no reason to do it.
They're keeping him. And wow, we're up to 50 minutes already, and we haven't even talked about the draft yet. Simo, how much time you got?
I would say another 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, this will be quick.
Let's make it an hour.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
But you went and saw Keaton Verhoff on the weekend. 2 games, playing defense for North Dakota in his draft year. Pretty impressive in that regard. I find it tough sometimes to evaluate players that young that are playing college hockey, and you can overrate or underrate them depending on the circumstance. What were your impressions?
Yeah, that was my concern. I was throughout the 2 games, I was sitting in the stands and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is tough. Because had he been 18, 18, he would have been already drafted. But you see my point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tried thinking, 17-year-old players in the NCAA are very rare. There's like 1 or 2 or 3 per season. Not many first-time draft-eligible players play in the NCAA. So I'm thinking, okay, let's take a benchmark. The highest of all, Macklin Celebrini 2 years ago, who was 17 years old. And I'm thinking, okay, Celebrini was dominant. Okay, so let's not expect Verhoff to be dominant. Let's be more realistic. But Verhoff is supposedly a top 3 pick. So let's see. So his skating is absolutely tremendous. I mean, the way he pivots, the way he goes around the net and turns and twists and turns. I mean, the guy was born with skates, basically. So that's something I give him like a 10 on 10. That's NHL level. He could be in the NHL this year just because of his skating. His size also is impressive. I think he's 6'4", probably close to 220. Very imposing on the ice. Does he use his size? Well, I think he reasonably he does. He doesn't just give body checks for the sake of doing it. But when he goes into the offensive zone, you can tell that he's like a running back in football. Okay, like try and stop me, guys. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Now, that makes him worthy of being a top pairing guy in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's no Matthew Schaefer offensively. Well,
right.
Who is? But
right.
You see my point.
Yeah.
The thing is with this guy, he carries the puck well. He gets to the blue line, and now he tries to make a play, either dangle through defensemen or stuff. But you can see that the way he handles the puck is good, but it's not fantastic. He's not a fantastic stick handler, puck handler. Is he good? Does he make nice passes? Yeah, he makes nice passes. He's not an A+ tremendous jaw-dropping passer, but he's a good passer. He can run the power play, but again, he's not Lane Hutson running the power play. And so I think he's worthy of being a top 3 pick, but I would say he's closer. I would say he's between Matthew Schaefer and Sam Dickinson.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably closer to Dickinson than Schaefer.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see my point? Because I saw Dickinson at the Memorial Cup last year, and I kind of saw the same kind of player. Driving up, with the puck and then getting to the offensive zone, and the creativity was lacking.
Yeah. No, that's fair on
so
him.
I would say, let's say you put, let's say you give a 10 to Schaefer and you give a 1 to Dickinson, then I would say Verhoff is at 4.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or
I don't know for sure. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sharks need a guy like him. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. No,
to complement the Celebrinis and the Misas, because there won't be a Montreal San Jose Stanley Cup final in 2030 if they don't get defensemen.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No.
I don't know that they're going to finish.
They're going to be bad.
But they'll definitely be in the running, and you got to win the lottery too, right? But they have to add a defenseman. That's safe to say, and maybe Montreal has a couple that they'd be interested in too, and who knows? They maybe make a deal down the road, but hopefully there's potential trade partner there. Yeah, Verhoff, I haven't seen him a lot yet this year. I have to look at his games, but I'm only going to put so much stock in how he looks. Playing college hockey. I did look at him earlier in the year, and I wasn't overwhelmed. He wasn't, it's tough. It's tough to step in at that age and be dominant offensively. That's for sure. I agree that he's not I don't think his hockey IQ is elite. There are some other parts of his game that are, and he'll score goals. He's got a good shot. He, 21 goals as a 16-year-old in WHL. 6'4" defenseman is pretty impressive. But at the same time, he didn't have many more assists than he did goals. And I think that gives you an indication that don't necessarily be expecting a quarterback, power play quarterback.
Exactly.
But one that they'll be able to, scoring some bombs back there, Shea Weber type on the power play. And do you think Stenberg? Would you rank Stenberg ahead of Verhoff right now?
Not yet, but I like Stenberg.
Okay.
I want to see more of him. I like what I saw last year. I also know that he's a late birthday, so he has a little bit more experience than Verhoff. Also, they don't play in the same league. It would be so great if all these guys played in a big CHL,
Yeah.
Just one big CHL. That would be fantastic. Because now it's so hard to evaluate. A guy is in Sweden. The other one is in a junior league in Russia. The other guy is in Ontario. Another one is in the U.S. high school. Oh, my God. It's my head is going to explode. But, I do like Stenberg. I just right now, Stenberg is in my top 5. But I don't have like an order, really. I still have McKenna at 1. Although McKenna, when I saw him at the Memorial Cup last year, I was enamored with this guy for 3 years. And when I saw him live, I saw things in his game that made me remove him from my generational list.
Yeah, well.
I took him out of the McDavid conversation.
Yeah.
I see more of a star player than a generational player. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I think he plays a little bit on the periphery.
Yeah.
There are things about him that I don't know. I watched the Penn State games. The opposition wasn't great in most games, but he didn't dominate. I know he's young, but Celebrini did dominate.
Yeah. Well, he's not near the all-around player, I don't think, that Celebrini is.
No.
He's a 5'11" winger
also,
at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't bring as much value. Doesn't bring as much value as a Celebrini. Like if you were to ask me which player, and it's even like I said last year, and I still believe, like Schaefer, to me, if you were had to pick either Schaefer or McKenna, give me Schaefer.
Of course.
Of
course, by a mile.
Yeah. And I thought that last year, and I still think that.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
Of course.
Have you seen much OHL guys? Who in the OHL is Belkit's the best player in the OHL for you?
Yeah. For the draft, yeah. I mean, last year, my only concern was that is he dominant because of his size, or he's just good, or both? And I realized this year, I mean, it's both. Both. He's a great player.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go see him live in person later this when he comes to the Ottawa Kingston area. Yeah. But what I've seen so far on video, I mean, it kind of erased the slight doubts that I had last year about him being just good because he was 6'5". It happens sometimes. There are players, they're very big in midget hockey. Then come junior hockey, it's like, they lose that edge that they had in midget hockey. Yeah. We've seen this before, and we've seen this in the past. These 6'6" guys, and And then they reach the NHL, and okay, well, not everybody's 6'6", but everybody's strong.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I really like him. I like him a lot. He's in my top 5 too.
Yeah.
So, McKenna, Verhoff, Stenberg, Belkits, whatever. Every commentator pronounces it a different way. And there's another one that I like. I have a blank now, but there's another guy in my top 5. We'll see how it evolves over the season, because it will evolve. Who would have thought I would have Beckett Seneca in my top 5 in October 2 years ago? And then he ended up number 4 on my list. And in October, I basically didn't pay attention to him.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, so you had him 4, eh? I had him 3.
Yeah,
we're on the same page.
I had him 4. So look, so I wasn't surprised when Anaheim picked him number 3. No. I mean, he was surprised. Everybody was surprised. The Sportsnet people were surprised. I'm like, yeah, okay. What's the problem?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would have picked Demidov, but that's not the point. The point is, I understood why they took Seneca.
Right. Yeah.
I understood. Some people are, why did they take Seneca before Demidov? Well, okay.
Did you watch the playoffs?
Seneca's good. Yeah.
Did you watch the OHL playoffs? He was fantastic.
Yeah, and even in Anaheim this year, he's doing very well for a 19-year-old player. So, look, I'm not going to blame Anaheim for not taking Demidov, although I prefer Demidov, but you see my point.
Oh, yeah. No, he's going to be a hell of an NHLer. He just was so good in the second half of his draft year and in the playoffs.
And this is very important, the curve, Yeah.
I put a lot of stock in the playoffs, as you do too. And I had the good fortune of seeing him live in Ottawa several times.
Okay.
Down the stretch and in the playoffs, and he blew me away. Let me know when you're going down to
I'll let you know. I'm going to see Niagara in Ottawa in 2 weeks on Saturday the 15th.
Okay. Well,
let's stay in touch.
I will see you there for sure.
I'll be on the 15th. Yeah.
Is Lawrence the other guy that you got in your top 5 or no?
Not sure yet. Top 10 for sure. Not sure yet about the top 5.
Okay. Just we'll have a quick look here. What do you think?
Let's take a quick look at it.
What do you think of Nordmark?
I like him. My only concern is that it's a junior league in Sweden, so I would like to see him against North Americans. Obviously.
Yeah.
The one I had in my I know the other one. He's the last one on the list, playing in the queue.
Right.
Of course. It's Xavier.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned
it's Xavier. There's one guy that I like, Ryan Rubrak. He's kind of been disappointing to me this year so far, especially for a late birthday playing his 3rd season. So that's one guy that I had in my top 5, early top 5 in August, let's say. It's going down my list now.
49 goals or whatever last year. He's been a bit perimeter. I want to see him. I want to see him go into the net a little more.
Of course.
We'll just end it here. You're now Gatineau. You're scouting for the Gatineau Olympique.
Yeah.
You got a goalie there that's really
Shaikov
raising some eyebrows, eh?
Yeah, he wasn't drafted last year because he was probably not well known, but I wouldn't be surprised this year if he were drafted maybe in the 4th or 5th round. Yeah. He's been tremendous so far. He has one of the best stats in the queue, but not only the stats, but the way he plays. He's quick. He moves well around, from post to post. He's been tremendous for us. We're all very, very happy we got him.
Yeah.
In the import draft, because the import draft is a crapshoot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Well, you and Matthias Brunet have a great podcast, and I recommend anyone that understands French to tune into your what's the name of your
Mathias et le serpent.
Okay.
So Mathias and the snake. Mathias et le serpent. It's on YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms.
Okay, perfect. Well, I really appreciate you coming out, and we're going to keep doing this. I hope, and we'll have you on in a week or two and talk again, and maybe for sure after we get together and see the Belkits kid in Ottawa, we'll definitely have to do another show for sure.
Yeah, it's Niagara, I think, that I'm going to see in November.
Or Niagara, yeah.
Yeah, so Rubrek, and
Rubrek. Oh, okay. Rubrek, Niagara. Okay. And then Windsor and Belkets will also they'll be in at some point, and hopefully you can
I'm just trying to, because there are teams that come to Ottawa a few times a year, like Peterborough. Let's say I want to see Peterborough, but there are teams that only come once.
Yeah.
So they're hard to see. There's also Kingston that I can go to. It's about 2.5 hours away. So look, let's stay in touch, and we'll see each other in November.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, just down to 416. I'm going to go to some Kingston games too. Good. And there's a couple of kids. I like the Fitzgerald kid in Peterborough, but he didn't get off to he hasn't got a lot of points so far.
Yeah, I like him too. Yeah.
Novotny as well is a decent prospect, so they're worth seeing as well. But let me know when you're coming up to Ottawa, and we'll say good day in the old rink there. Okay.
Yeah, I sure will.
Okay. Thanks, Simon. Have a great day.
Bye-bye, Grant.